Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So welcome everybody to the sixth session of this Damodar Leela series. The title for today's discussion is How Could Mother Yashoda Finally Bind Lord Krishna? So in the previous sessions, we saw, or rather in the previous session itself, we saw Mother Yashoda started a chase for Lord Krishna and she wanted to bind him. And then whenever she was trying to bind, the rope was falling 2 fingers short. So we discussed how various energies came to serve Krishna. Krishna is Sarva Manoratha Purna. Whatever he desires comes true. So he desired not to be bound. So his Satya Sankalpa Shakti, because he took a Sankalpa that he should not be bound, the Satya Sankalpa Shakti manifested in his personality and summoned the Vibhuti Shakti, which is his great inconceivable opulence, which nobody can understand. That Vibhuti Shakti manifested in the belly of Krishna, and the result of that Shakti was so great that Mother Yashoda, after combining all the ropes which were there in Nand Bhavan, could not bind the waist of Krishna, which was as big as her fist. However, when he saw her mother toiling so hard and when he saw her determination, the Kripa Shakti of Krishna took over. And when Kripa Shakti manifested, all the other energies, they took low profile. And then Kripa Shakti completely took over and then allowed Krishna got tied himself. He allowed himself to get tied up. And in this way, he exhibited his great quality of Bhakta Vashyata, Bhakta Paradhinata, Bhakta Vatsalya. How he is under the control of his devotees, that is Bhakta Vashyata. How he is completely dependent on his devotees, Bhakta Paradhina. And how he has so much love for his devotees, that is Bhakta Vatsalya. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami is very nicely telling in the Srimad Bhagavatam in this chapter. Evam sandarshyata hyanga harinam bhritya vashyata swavashenapi krishnena yasyedam seshwaram vase. O Maharaj Parikshit, this entire universe with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and Lord Indra is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Harina Bhritya Vashyata. Everybody is under the control of Krishna. Yet Supreme Lord has one transcendental attribute. He himself comes under the control of his devotees. Swa Vashenapi Krishnena. Krishna himself desires to come under their control. This was now exhibited by Krishna in his pastime. But in today's session, we are going to discuss why this happens. What is the main reason why Krishna chooses to do so? And the various factors which are around it. But before beginning today's session, I would like to offer this session for the pleasure of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, and all the predecessor acharyas, and all my teachers, and all my well-wishers. I hope and I pray that this discussion gives pleasure to them, satisfaction to them. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadan nagatihi kutopi. If the teachers or the spiritual masters and the devotees are pleased, especially the teachers, when they are pleased, then Radha and Krishna are pleased. But if the spiritual master is not pleased, then they are not pleased. Radha Krishna are also not pleased. So I hope and I pray, and the only objective of this session is to please Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas and all the teachers. And with this prayer, I offer this session to them and I seek their blessings by chanting the pranam mantras. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. How could Mother Yashoda finally bind Lord Krishna? Actually, this entire Damodar Leela has been done for primarily two reasons. Number one, to reciprocate with the unalloyed, unadulterated love which Mother Yashoda had for Lord Krishna, to reciprocate for that love, to reciprocate to that love. That's why this Leela has been done. Lord Krishna, the love which Mother Yashoda had for Lord Krishna is unparalleled, unmatchable, unfathomable, non-quantifiable. It cannot be measured. And the degree to which the love which Mother Yashoda has for Lord Krishna, being the topmost Vatsalya devotee, to that degree, Lord Krishna wants to reciprocate and experience and taste the rasa of her love. So the degree to which the love of Mother Yashoda is genuine, to that degree, Lord Krishna's pastime and his tears and his movements and his activities in this Leela are very, very genuine. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiv vibrajamyaham. So the first reason why he did this is to taste the rasa or enhance the Vatsalya rasa which Mother Yashoda was experiencing, and therefore himself taste that loving exchange. Some acharyas say he also did this pastime to make Mother Yashoda famous. And the second reason, or one of the most primary reasons, which Lord Krishna, or due to which Lord Krishna did this pastime, is to prove how his Bhakta Paradhin or Bhakta Vatsalya or Bhritya Vashya. This is one of the main reasons. He wanted to show that there can be multiple contradictions, multiple apparent contradictions simultaneously existing in his personality, but at the same time, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? We will discuss in the course of today's session. So these are the two primary reasons. So the first reason has been fairly discussed in the previous sessions. I would like to focus on the second session, that to prove that Krishna's supreme quality is Bhakta Paradhina. Aham Bhakta Paradhina, Krishna says. I am dependent on my devotee, completely subordinate to my devotees. So in this Leela, we see he made himself completely subordinate to Mother Yashoda. But we know that Krishna is Swarat. He is completely independent. All of us are dependent. All of us are having some kind of a reporting structure. All of us are reporting to at least someone. We are being controlled all the time. Even if somebody enters the Shuddha Sattva stage, they are completely controlled by God and his energies. But Krishna is not controlled by anything. He is Swarat. But in the previous verse, Shukdev Goswami says, Swa Vashenapi Krishnena. He himself desires to be controlled by his devotees. Nobody can control Krishna, but he chooses to be controlled by his servants. The Chaitanya Charitamrita very beautifully and very appropriately says, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ar Sab Bhritya Yare Yaiche Nachaya Se Taiche Kare Nritya. Lord Krishna is the alone supreme controller. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ar Sab Bhritya, and everybody else are his servants. Yare Yaiche Nachaya Se Taiche Kare Nitya. They dance, everybody dances as he makes them do so. That is the position of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who is the source of all Vishnu Tattvas. But he chooses to be controlled by his devotees. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains this Supreme Personality of Godhead's nature by giving the example of the judge of a high court or a great personality who may be very, very powerful in their realm of prescribed duties. Nobody misbehaves with a judge of the Supreme Court, at least. Contempt of court will happen. And then, miseries will follow. However, we see that when the same judge, when he comes back home, his grandson will come, and then the grandson will say, I want to ride on a horse and I want you to become the horse. So the same judge of the Supreme Court will become a horse for his grandson out of love and out of affection. He will personally desire to become a horse and go according to the beck and call of the small child of the house. This is the example which Srila Prabhupada gives. So similarly, Krishna, although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Shantim Richati. Supreme enjoyer, Bhoktaram, beneficiary of all austerities and sacrifices, Yagya Tapasam, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Krishna is not just the proprietor of one country or one planet or one universe or the material universes. He's the proprietor of everything, even all the Vaikuntha planets, the entire spiritual world, the entire material world. Everything, he completely owns it. In some cities, especially in a place like Bangalore, if you try to own something, someone may try to create or file some litigations, and then they may try to create problems. So one cannot be an undisputed owner of something. There can be many challenges in that. But Krishna is the undisputed. Nobody can even challenge his position. That's his position is so absolute. That's why they call him the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purna Purushottam Bhagwan. So nobody can challenge his authority, but still he likes to be controlled by his devotees. Rather, Bhritya Vashyata, he likes to be controlled by his servants. Now, one may say, okay, I am also servant of Krishna, I will control him. What does it mean to become a servant of Krishna? Krishna may have many servants. Someone may call, some people, they meet you on the road and they call themselves your well-wisher. But not everybody qualifies to be your well-wisher. Extending the same or extrapolating the same analogy, Many people may call themselves as devotees of Krishna or servants of Krishna. But in the core of their heart, the unadulterated, uncontaminated, unalloyed, mature affection for Krishna, they don't have. So therefore, they do not qualify truly as servants of Krishna. So only those servants of Krishna who have mature affection for Krishna, who have unalloyed love for Krishna, and who have exclusive service mentality for Krishna can control Krishna. And Mother Yashoda qualifies all these qualifications. So therefore, I was describing how she was trying to bind Krishna and the energies of Krishna were serving Krishna. So Krishna has various energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. So he has multifarious energies. I mean, nobody can understand how many energies Krishna has. However, father of Vedvyas, Parashar Muni, when he wrote the Vishnu Puran, he has broadly qualified the energies of Krishna, broad classifications, like very broad. Now, each of them may have further unlimited, infinite further classifications. So, but broadly, he has qualified or categorized into 64 parts. However, the fact is that Krishna does not have 64 types of energies. He has unlimited. He can prove it at any point of time. So these energies, they are completely under the control of Krishna. The energies, they do not overpower Krishna. The Shakti always serves the Shaktiman. If the Shakti overpowers Krishna, then the Shaktiman cannot be called as Shaktiman. The Mayavad philosophy says that the Supreme Absolute Truth has no form. They put a limitation on the Absolute Truth. Why? Because they see that I have a form, and when I have a form, in this form, I have so many, difficulties while having this form. So if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Satchid Anand, complete bliss, complete knowledge, and full of eternity, then there should be no form. It's like the Dr. Frog philosophy. The frog is in a well, and it thinks that the well is the whole world. And when it meets the frog from the sea, and when the sea frog tells the well frog that the sea is unlimitedly bigger than this well, then the well frog says that you are a fraud and doesn't believe them. Calls them mad, just like the whole world calls the devotees mad. So similarly, these Mayavadis, they cannot understand the meaning of God. So therefore, they put limitation on the existence of God. And they say that this Supreme Brahman, who has no form, when they come into this material world as incarnations, they take a form of Maya. Krishna's name is Mayapati. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. He tells in the Bhagavad Gita, and under my superintendent, the modes of material nature and the laws of material nature are working. But then these Mayavadis, they say that when Krishna comes, or when the Supreme Brahman comes in this material world, they take a form of Maya. So therefore, the name Mayapati doesn't suit Krishna. If Maya is overpowering Krishna, so much so that he has an existence made of Maya, then he cannot be called as Mayapati. That means all the names which Krishna has, Govinda, Rishikesha, Vasudeva, all are wrong. But that is not the case. So Mayapati means under whom Maya is taking shelter, who is in charge of Maya. So therefore, this understanding is wrong, which these Mayavadis they have. So these energies, they are Shaktis, and they serve the Shaktiman according to the will and mood of Krishna. For example, when Krishna is doing this Damodar Leela, he is in the form of an infant, and he wants to be fully absorbed in that infant pastime of Damodar Leela. Now, he doesn't want to get bothered with the various with the various things which need to be taken care. For example, these Shaktis, they understand the mood of Krishna. So the Satya Sankalp Shakti, it understood that the mood of Krishna is not to be tied. So let not Krishna, take care or get the trouble of managing his desire. No, the Satya Sankalpa Shakti will immediately manifest, and without troubling Krishna, it will understand the mood of Krishna, and then it will start working. And very effortlessly, Krishna will not get bound. Now, Krishna doesn't need to call his Shaktis also or tell his Shaktis also what to do. The Shaktis also, they understand what Krishna wants. So similarly, this Satya Sankalpa Shakti is summoning the Vibhuti Shakti. All this is being done, they render the service in such a way so that the mood of their master does not get interrupted. A very nice example to understand this is the Sankirtan, the nocturnal Sankirtan, which was happening in the house of Srivas Thakur. So in Srivas Angan, the Sankirtan was soaring and rising. And during the Sankirtan was going on, Mahaprabhu was there, Nityanand Prabhu was there, Dvaitacharya was there, Gadadhar Pandit was there, were there, Srivas Thakur was there, and many other Gaura Bhaktivrinda were there. In the middle of the Kirtan, the son of Srivas Thakur died. But Srivas Thakur did not allow this news to come to Krishna, understanding the mood of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna. He did not allow this news because he did not wanted to interrupt the Leela of Lord Chaitanya, the rasa which he was experiencing. So therefore, he stopped something unfavorable to enter the Leela, or rather whatever background work was required. He told his family members to stop crying, and then he threatened his family members that if they don't stop crying, he will jump into the Ganga and commit suicide. And then he went in, he felt sad, but when he came back, he had a smiling face. So there was so much background work done just to ensure that Lord Chaitanya, who is omniscient, who knows everything, just to ensure that Lord Chaitanya's mood in which he is enjoying this Leela does not get interrupted. So similarly, I'm just giving you an example so that you can understand how these Shaktis of Krishna work. So Lord Krishna, he has put aside all his godhood. Bhoktaram, supreme enjoyer, supreme maintainer, supreme destroyer, supreme creator, supreme Swarat, God. All his designations of godhood are put aside now. He is just fully absorbed into this pastime just to reciprocate with Mother Yashoda and just to experience her love and just to increase the love which Mother Yashoda is also experiencing. His only job description is to how to reciprocate 100% with Mother Yashoda and how to give absolute uncontaminated bliss to Mother Yashoda, and at the same time experience the beautiful love, the unalloyed, uncontaminated, uninterrupted, unfathomable love which Mother Yashoda is having for him. He wants to taste it. Now, this will not be possible if he gets tied very quickly. So, understanding the mood of Krishna, the Satya Sankalpa Shakti, without even bothering him, comes in, summons the Vibhuti Shakti, and then things go on. For a long time, Mother Yashoda is not able to tie him. And in this way, the Leela is being relished. But however, when he sees a lot of endeavor from Mother Yashoda's part, flowers falling from her head, tears, and not tears, but perspiration coming from her head, other gopis telling that do not try to bind him. It is the destiny of Krishna not to be bound today. She being very, very determined to see the length or the extent of the waist of her small child, not giving up, working hard, being a pure devotee. Yeah. So in order to further, Krishna felt merciful on her. He felt that my mother is working so hard. As soon as he felt that, immediately the Kripa Shakti manifested. And when Kripa Shakti manifested, all other energies, they took a low profile and they went in the background. And then Kripa Shakti, understanding the mood of Krishna, immediately allowed or immediately enabled the Damodar Lila pastime, so much so that Lord Krishna allowed himself to be tied after that. So that is the way his energies are working. See, if this is very, very important. If God or Krishna becomes conscious that he's God, then he cannot do this. He cannot cry like that. He cannot do this Damodar Leela. So his Shaktis, they are very, very nice. And Krishna in Vrindavan, in all the pastimes, he puts aside his godhood. He's very relishing the teasings which he's getting from his friends, the fights which he has with his gopas, the various different kinds of pastimes which are happening with the cows, with the gopis, elderly gopis, gopas, parental affection people, even with the trees. So he's simply relishing it. However, when some demon comes or some dangers come, Krishna, although he looks like a simple cowherd boy walking around with a flute in his hand, and when he's hungry, he runs to his mother, and when some thunderbolt comes, he hides into the sari of his mother. But when some demon comes, or when some danger in Vrindavan comes, all these energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they immediately manifest. And then Krishna takes charge of the whole situation. So, Krishna, for example, let me give you an example to explain how these demons are dying. There is a very famous demon called as the cart demon or Shakatasur. The original name of Shakatasur was Utkacha. This demon did not had any gross body, but had only a subtle body. So Mother Yashoda, once she kept Krishna under a cart, a very safe cart. There were so many items kept on that cart, so much so that the cart was in no position to move or tilt, or it was completely fixed up in one way. And Mother Yashoda just kept the baby. She wanted to keep the baby in a safe place. So she kept the baby under the cart and went to do some household affairs. And when she kept Krishna there, Krishna was sleeping. As soon as the demon, Utkacha or the Shakatasur or the cart demon, as soon as he entered the physical body of the cart, because he didn't have a gross body, and assumed the cart or controlled the cart, brought the cart under his control, immediately Krishna woke up. And then he started crying to call his mother. Now, he was not crying because he was seeing a demon in front of him. He was just crying because that's what babies do. That's what infants do. And Krishna wants to relish this rasa. Whenever the babies, infants do, they wake up and then they want immediate exclusive attention of their mother. So he was crying, and he was crying very loudly to make Mother Yashoda understand that I'm awake, you come and take care of me. And it is natural that when a child cries, the child throws the hands and legs. So he is relishing that rasa. But the Shaktis of Krishna are aware. Of course, Krishna is also aware. But the Shaktis of Krishna are taking charge. They are doing their work. That yes, this demon is there. So when the very soft, new, small, leaf-like leg, newborn leaf-like, soft petal-like leg of Krishna just slightly touched the cart, immediately his Shaktis manifested, and the cart completely got thrown up in the sky along with all the items kept on it, and it broke, and then the demon died. So therefore, Krishna is absorbed in his pastimes, and he doesn't care for any demons. And these demons keep getting killed in his pastimes as a byproduct. And these demons who are getting killed are very, very powerful demons, okay? They are not some small demons here and there. Extremely powerful demons. And then Krishna is simultaneously deciding what to do with these demons also. Some demons are just getting liberated, merging in the impersonal Brahman. Some demons, they are going back to Godhead also, like Putna and others. So various things are happening, but all these things are byproduct. The main intention of Krishna while he is in Vrindavan is to be absorbed in the rasa exchange. That's why Krishna is called as Akhil Rasamrita Sindhu. So, as I said earlier, Krishna is exchanging the rasas, and when he is exchanging the rasas, the topmost rasa, which he likes to relish all the time, is the Bhakta Vatsalya rasa, where he is subordinate to his devotees, or rather, where he assumes a subordinate position to his devotees. Bhritya Vashyata. The Krishna has many names, like Atma Rama, Apta Kama, Purna Manoratha. Atma Ram means one who is always satisfied, has no need of anything or anyone to be happy. Apta Kama, whatever he desires, immediately he's self-sufficient to fulfill all his desires. Purna Manoratha, whatever he desires immediately comes true. So he is God. But you see, the pastimes which he is doing in Vrindavan, he proves just to show that his topmost quality is Bhritya Vashyata, or he being subordinate and controlled by his devotees, just to declare to the whole world that I am Bhakta Vatsal, I am Bhakta Paradhina, I am Bhritya Vashya, I am under the control of my devotees. He does various pastimes which seems like contradictions. For example, I quoted that verse from Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So the word Sarvaloka Maheshwaram means one who is the proprietor of everything. But Krishna, although he is the proprietor of everything, he owns everything, but he, despite being the owner of everything, goes around to steal things in Vrindavan. I repeat, although he's Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, but he goes around to steal things in Vrindavan. And what does he steal? Little butter, little curd, little milk, and things like that. Why is he stealing? He is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He does not need to steal. Just by the movement of his eyebrows, various universes are created and destroyed. Why does he need to steal little milk, butter, and curd? He does it just to please his devotees. His devotees, when he does these pastimes, he steals the heart, the butter-like soft hearts of his devotees. Vraje prasiddham navanita chauram, gopangananam chadukula chauram, aneka janmar jitapapa chauram, chauragaganyam purusham namami. The acharyas are, if somebody steals something, nobody glorifies that. But when Krishna steals, the acharyas want to dedicate their life singing about that theft and dacoity which Krishna has done. Because others do theft and dacoity for some stinking material purpose. But Krishna's theft and dacoity is only meant to give pleasure to his devotees. Especially given the fact that he owns everything. But still he steals just to give pleasure to his devotees, rather to steal away the butter-like hearts of his devotees. So I'm just trying to discuss how Krishna allows so many contradictions to come in his supreme personality just to establish his Bhritya Vashyata. In order to establish that, yes, I'm controlled by my devotees, although he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, but he goes around stealing. Another contradiction which we see is that Krishna is Atma Ram. He is completely satisfied. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana, Acyuta Keshava Hari Narayana. They call Krishna like that. But despite being Atma Ram, Krishna feels hungry. How can someone who is Atma Ram become hungry? I mean, this is completely a contradiction. But he feels hungry. And he goes to Mother Yashoda and tells, please give me milk. Sometimes when he comes after the cow grazing pastimes, Gocharana Leela, he immediately tells his mother that please go and make food very fast, I'm so hungry. So just to show that how he is completely dependent, or rather how he chooses to be completely dependent on his devotees. Although he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he steals. Although he is Atma Ram, he feels hungry. Another example, Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says there is no truth superior to me. There is something called as absolute truth and relative truth. Absolute truth is that truth on which all the other truths derive their existence. For example, I'm just giving a material example. This cannot be extrapolated or extended unlimitedly, but just to help us understand, I'm just giving an example. For example, the sun. Everything in this world depends on the sun. If one day the sun doesn't come out, everything will be finished. The whole life will be dead. There'll be no source of energy. There'll be nothing. So everything depends on the sun. All the other things which we are doing, they depend on the sun. Similarly, there are various truths, but all the truths, they depend on the supreme absolute truth, that is Krishna. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mattah parataram nanyat. There is no truth superior to me. So Krishna is the embodiment of truth. He is Satya, Satyavan, the supreme absolute truth, Param Satya. But in Vrindavan, he lies. He breaks the pot, but he says, I have not broken it. He steals the butter, but he says, I have not stolen it. Why does he do this? Just to captivate and charm the minds of his devotees and give them pleasure. Just to give his devotees little happiness, he's ready to speak a lie. We see this even in the Kurukshetra Leela. He took a vow that I will not lift a weapon. However, just to give pleasure to his devotee Bhishma and protect his devotee Arjuna, Bhakt Vatsal nature again, he said, okay, I don't care if the world tells me that I've broken if the world tells me that I've broken my vow, I don't care. I'll go and lift up a weapon. And so these are, some of the contradictions which simultaneously coexist in Krishna's personality, but still Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. All contradictions can simultaneously coexist in Krishna and not make Krishna. Still Krishna will be Krishna. That is God. So, Vajradapi kathorani mriduni kusumadapi. And this is a statement. Vajradapi kathorani. Krishna is simultaneously as strong as the thunderbolt and mriduni kusumadapi. Mridu means soft. He's as strong as hard as a thunderbolt, at the same time as soft as a lotus petal or a lotus flower. The Narsimha or the Narsimha, when we sing the Narsimha, the same quality is being highlighted there also. Tava kara kamala vare nakham adbhuta shringam dalita hiranya kashipu tanubhringam keshavadhrita narhari rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. Tava Kara Kamala Vare. Your hands are as soft as a lotus flower. Nakham Adbhuta Shringam, and you have wonderful nails. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhringam. You tore apart the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu with the nails of your soft lotus-like hands. So again, you see, two contradicting qualities. Hand is as soft as a lotus flower, but with the same soft lotus-like hands with nails, he's tearing apart the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. Vajradapi kathorani mriduni kusumadapi. So this is how various contradictions merge in Krishna. Okay. Now, another thing which I would like to say, Krishna is Vishuddha Sattva Vigraha. One of the names of Krishna is Nirguna. The Mayavadis, they misinterpreted. They say that he has no guna, but actually the word Nirguna means Krishna is above Satyagun, Rajagun and Tamagun. Why? Because he is Vishuddha Sattva Vigraha. He's above Sattvagun, Rajagun and Tamagun. Therefore, he's in Vishuddha Sattva and he has Vigraha. He has a form. Now, qualities like anger is manifested only in the mode of passion. But we see in the Damodar Leela, Krishna is manifesting anger also. How to understand this? In the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, in the 16th chapter, he says, Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanam kamas krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadetattrayam tyajet. Trividham narakasyedam. There are three gates to hell. Trividham. What are they? And what do they do? Dwaram nashanam atmanah. The soul becomes degraded if these three take charge. These three gates to hell. What are these? Kama, Krodha, Tatha, Lobhas. And Tasmad etat trayam tajet. Every sane man should give up this lust, anger, and greed. Why? Dwaram nashanam atmanaha. Because it leads to the degradation of the soul. But in Damodar Leela, we can see that Krishna has exhibited all these qualities: lust, anger, and greed. When he has woken up as a child, just like under the cart, or in Damodar Leela, when he was in the other room and Mother Yashoda, 3:30 a.m., she was churning the butter or yogurt into the butter. As soon as he gets up, he becomes Stanya Kama. He desires to drink the breast milk of Mother Yashoda. So he exhibited lust. And then anger, when Mother Yashoda, or greed, when Mother Yashoda is trying to feed him milk, he's becoming more greedy and trying to drink more. And Mother Yashoda is feeding more, and then he's trying to even drink more. So we discussed that competition. When Mother Yashoda is feeding Lord Krishna, he's smiling. Seeing the smile, Mother Yashoda is feeding more. When she's feeding more, his smile is becoming more. When she's feeding more, smile is becoming even more. And like that, he's becoming very, very greedy to drink the milk. So he exhibited Stanyakama, or the lust to drink Mother Yashoda's milk. He also exhibited greed to drink more and more milk. And then when Mother Yashoda carefully put him aside and went to save the milk, Padmagandha milk, which was boiling in the kitchen, he became angry also. So in this way, he manifested lust, anger, and greed. But this is not like the lust, anger, and greed which is displayed by the conditioned souls in this material world. There is no material lust, material anger, and material greed in the personality of Krishna. When Krishna exhibits lust, it is spiritual. When Krishna exhibits anger, it is spiritual anger. Just like Lord Narasimhadev becoming angry. And similarly, when Krishna becomes greedy, it is spiritual greed. And why, for what purpose Krishna is exhibiting this lust, anger, and greed? He is exhibiting it only to reciprocate with the unadulterated love for his devotees like Mother Yashoda. So Krishna is not worried about his image. He doesn't say, I'm so afraid that people will criticize me. He is doing all these pastimes and showing all these contradictions in his character without fearing what will happen to his image, just for two purposes. He wants to fully reciprocate with his devotees, and second, he wants to prove that his topmost quality is Bhritya Vashyata, Bhakta Vatsalya, or Bhakta Paradhina. Now, when he's becoming angry, and through these pastimes, he's teaching us various lessons also. For example, even when Krishna becomes angry, it is a subject matter of discussion, and one can derive so many lessons out of it. I'll give you an example. When we become angry, we cannot derive any lesson. The only lesson which we'll derive is to calm down and keep the anger in control, or try to chant Hare Krishna. Next time, don't get provoked, like that. But when Krishna becomes angry, we can derive lessons from it. For example, in the Damodar Ashtakam, all of us know that the lips of Krishna are described as red like the bimba fruits. So red is the color of passion. When Krishna became angry, he bit the lips, his reddish lips, with his pearl-like white teeth. Now, white represents the mode of goodness. So even when Lord Krishna is becoming angry, he's showing, just like the white teeth suppressed the reddish lips. So similarly, the white mode of goodness should suppress the red mode of passion. So you see, although Krishna seemingly appears to be in anger, but his anger is spiritual. And through this spiritual anger, he's teaching a lesson that how mode of goodness should always control or overpower or subdue the mode of passion. So you see, Krishna is exhibiting so many contradictions just to reciprocate with his devotee and just to prove that his topmost quality is Bhritya Vashyata. I'll again repeat just for our revision. He is Sarvalok Maheshwaram, but he became a thief in Vrindavan. He is the absolute owner and proprietor of everything, undisputed. But still he likes to be moving around, stealing things, just to give pleasure to his devotees. He is Satyavan. He is the supreme absolute truth. Matta parataram nanyat. Absolute truth. But he speaks lies for the purpose of Leela, just to please his devotees. He is Atmaram, but he exhibits spiritual emotions of hunger in front of Mother Yashoda. He's completely satisfied. He doesn't need anything eternally, but he becomes hungry in front of Mother Yashoda. Similarly, he is Vishuddha, Sattva, Vigraha, but he displays lust, anger, and greed in his pastimes, just for the pleasure of his devotees. Point to be noted that this lust, anger, and greed represent, displayed by Krishna, are spiritual lust, spiritual anger, and spiritual greed. Now, Krishna is also time, Kalosmin Ham. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am time. Time personified is another energy of Krishna. Krishna is Shaktiman. And one of the Shaktis of Krishna is time. The whole world is mad about being strong, being beautiful, being rich, being very intelligent, being very famous, etc., etc. But all the beauty, all the strength, all the influence, all the education, all the wealth, all the name and fame, everything is destroyed by just one energy of Krishna that is called time. Time destroys everything. And Krishna, that is one of the energies of Krishna. So this time causes fear in the hearts of so many people. For example, take the example of a student trying to write an exam. The exam is of 2 hours and 1 hour is over and the student has not yet finished writing a good number of answers. So he becomes afraid. Oh, only 1 hour is left, but so many questions are also left. So in this way, similarly, when a person is about to die, we see how they pass stool and urine in the bed. So time strikes fear in the heart of everybody. And time is just one small energy of Krishna. But still in this Leela, we see time which causes fear in the hearts of everybody is just an energy of Krishna. But in this Leela, we see that Krishna also becomes afraid of Mother Yashoda. When big demons are coming, Arishtasur is coming, Putana is coming, Shakatasur is coming, Dhenukasur is coming, Keshi demon is coming, Kamsa is coming, Shal, Toshal, Koot. So many demons are coming. Krishna is not getting afraid. But in this Leela, Krishna shows the contradiction. Although time is one of his energies, but he shows this contradiction of being afraid, not by some big weapon, but just by a stick which Mother Yashoda is having in her hand. Just to show that he is Bhaktavatsal, just to show that he is Bhritya Vashya, he is under the control of his devotees. Another contradiction which Krishna displays, just to show that he is under the control of his devotees, or likes to be under the control of devotees, is the aspect of Krishna being the fastest. I mean, Vegavan. So Krishna is, nobody is faster than Krishna. Nobody can catch Krishna until Krishna wants to be caught. All these yogis, they are simply sitting in meditation for thousands and millions of years. Dhyana vasthita tadagatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. They are dhyana vasthita, sitting in the position of dhyana. And they are just trying to see Krishna in the core of their heart, see the 400 form of Krishna in the core of their heart. But with the speed of their mind, with the power of their mind, which is dhyana vasthita, with the speed of the mind, you can just imagine what's the speed of the mind. Suppose you want to think that you are, let's say, in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So you just think, I'm in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. That's the speed of the mind. Immediately you're there. So with the speed of the mind, which is dhyana vasthita, the yogis are trying to catch a small glimpse of Krishna, but in millions and billions of years, they are not able to catch. Krishna is so fast, who cannot even be caught by the speed of the mind. Krishna is so fast that so many poets who are reciting or glorifying Krishna in the most eloquent and exquisite poetry, through their brilliant shlokas, they are not able to capture Krishna. But that Krishna decides to be caught by his devotee. That is Mother Yashoda. So in this way, you see, in this pastime, Krishna is exhibiting so many contradictions. He is Sarvalok Maheshwaram, but he is exhibiting the contradiction of becoming a thief just for the pleasure of his devotees. He is the supreme absolute truth, but he is speaking a lie just for the pleasure of his devotees. He is Atmaram, completely satisfied, but he is exhibiting symptoms of hunger in front of his devotees just for the pleasure of his devotees. He is Vishuddha Sattva Kama, Vishuddha Sattva Vigraha. He is always in pure, uncontaminated mode of goodness, spiritual goodness, but he is exhibiting anger when Mother Yashoda, spiritual anger when Mother Yashoda puts him down. He is the fastest. No yogis can catch him. No poets can completely describe him. But he agrees to be caught by Mother Yashoda. And although time personified is just an energy of Krishna, which strikes fear in the heart of everybody, but Krishna agrees to reciprocate with the uncontaminated, unmotivated, uninterrupted, unfathomable love of Mother Yashoda by becoming fearful and rubbing his eyes and incessantly crying in front of Mother Yashoda. He allowed all these contradictions to manifest and coexist simultaneously and merge in his character. Why? Just to show that he can give up all his qualities, but he cannot give up his quality of being a Bhritya Vashya. That means being controlled by his devotees. He cannot give up his Bhakta Vatsalya, the love, the desire to love and maintain and reciprocate with his devotees and make them famous. So there are so many other qualities which are there in Krishna. We will discuss more in the next session. With this, I would like to end today's discussion here. If there are any questions, comments, or reflections, you can put them in the chat box. But by the time devotees do that, I would just like to quickly revise this session. We saw how Swas Vashenapi Krishnena, Krishna decided to be bound by Krishna just to show that he doesn't care for his image. He just wants to reciprocate with his devotees. Krishna says, I know just my devotees and my devotees just know me. And I have no other job description and I don't care for anything else. That is the mood in which he is doing this. He shows he is Bhakta Paradhina, he is Bhritya Vashya, and he is Bhakta Vatsala. We saw how the energies of Krishna are working so that the absorption which Krishna has in these pastimes does not get interrupted. He does not need to come out of his pastime to take care of things. The Shaktis of Krishna are automatically doing everything. We understood some Shaktis like Satya Sankalpa, Vibhuti Shakti, etc., etc., Kripa Shakti. And then we saw how Krishna enjoys in Vrindavan without compromising his sweetness. And then everything else happens as a byproduct. Everything else can take secondary priority, but his primary attention in Vrindavan is to enjoy and exchange the sweet rasa with his devotees. Killing demons is secondary. Everything else happens as a byproduct. We saw when these Shaktis, they can act in a very contradicting way. Or rather, Krishna allows various contradictions, so-called apparent contradictions, to coexist simultaneously in him. Vajradapi, Kathorani, Mriduni, Kusumadapi. He can allow various contradictions to coexist simultaneously together just for the pleasure of his devotees. And more qualities we will discuss in the next session. So if there are any questions or comments, they're welcome. I'm just opening the chat box. Wow, so many points. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, he likes to be controlled by his pure devotees. Someone has pointed out this. Another point, if Shakti overpowers the Shaktiman, then he's not supposed to be called as Shaktiman. The Shakti serves Krishna according to the will and mood of Krishna, and they render their services to Krishna without any interruption. Yes. Another point, whenever Krishna wants to relish these rasas and leelas, these Shaktis help him, and they help him in such a way so that he does not need to assume the role of a god also. I mean, he puts his godhood aside. To give happiness and pleasure to his devotees, he sometimes performs some leelas, and then devotees are highlighting how, although he's Atmaram, but he feels hungry and all those things. He exhibits lust, anger, and greed. It's always spiritual when Krishna does it. Mode of goodness should control the mode of passion. Thank you. And Krishna does these pastimes for two reasons. He wants to fully reciprocate with his devotees and to prove that his highest quality is Bhritya Vashyata. Another point, Krishna displayed transcendental pastimes with his devotees. Thank you. So with that, we end today's discussion. I thank everybody from the core of my heart. Because of your enthusiasm, session after session, I'm also feeling enthusiastic to read and present to you this Damodar Leela from the chakshu or the eyes of the acharyas, starting with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and the other previous acharyas such as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan, etc. I'm very grateful to all the devotees. These sessions are very purifying for me, and I hope and pray that this is giving some pleasure to you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.